charged conversation, somebody says something around you, it's super loaded. One, before you put any demand on yourself to speak up in any political conversation, you check in with yourself and you make sure that you're resourced for it and that you're in a place of choicefulness. Because if you're feeling reactive, it's unlikely to go well. What you're more likely to do then is take the opportunity to express some pain of yours in some urgent way, and it's unlikely that you're going to get the quality of connection that you're wanting with the other person, and that is the absolute foundation of communicating nonviolently. So when we want to take a nonviolent communication stance in any interaction, especially politically loaded ones, you want to do enough background work with yourself that when you get into that moment, you are in a place where you can privilege relationship and connection above content. If you're stimulated by the content and you're wanting to get into an intellectual debate about some issue, you're not ready.
Could you just repeat what you said, the last paragraph?
I want to hear that again.
She said.
Yes. Okay. Check in with your intention and the relational context before you dive in. Because in order to make true change, you need to be resourced enough to have a different quality of conversation than the one that everybody is used to and sick of. Mm-hmm. If you get into the same conversation in the same style, in the same way that is very familiar to everybody, what happens is it's almost like pressing play in both people, and you know exactly how it's going to end and where it's going to end, and nobody's happy, and we're more upset at the end of it. So it takes a certain degree of awareness and intentionality. If you're choosing to take on the task of doing this differently, there's a lot of resourcing that you want to do ahead of time. So, one, are you in a place of really being able to connect with the humanity of this other person or not? If I'm not feeling open, curious, willing to hear what they have to say, and able to see them as a human being, then I need to first do some work internally. Yes?
This place of internal resourcing, I'm discovering is not about me thinking about it.
No.
And
about thinking about it. The internal resourcing is not a version of thinking. You don't bring thinking into that space. Say more about that.
Well, I'm just a kindergartner about this stuff, but it's learning to feel in my body if I'm comfortable or not.
Yes.
And it will tell me if I feel jittery and I feel like I really want to get the heck out of Dodge. That's information that I'm not ready to speak.
Yes.
And I may need to even leave that situation.
Yes.
And I have ignored that for so many years. No pain, no gain kind of philosophy. You just barrel your way through. That this is a new thing, and it's so I just wanted it.
I'm really grateful that you named that, and I want to underline what you said by just repeating it again, because I think it's an important piece for you to remember as you do this practice. You are grounding yourself in your own felt sense. So you are tracking what is going on in your internal system, and you are working non-violently with yourself. You don't bring demand energy to yourself either, overriding your system telling you that you're not ready to have the conversation, for example, like you're bringing up. So if you're getting very activated, if your whole stress response system is kicking in, you honor that and you work with it. You don't dismiss it, you don't minimize it, you don't barrel over it and pretend that isn't happening. It is a practice of paying exquisite attention to all of the internal cues and staying in a place of choicefulness from moment to moment. You are the only one who knows whether you are in the orange zone of I'm uncomfortable and I'm stretching, but I can stay present enough to stay in a place of choicefulness and awareness, and yes, I'm uncomfortable and I'm stretched, but I'm okay. And when you've moved into the red zone of, yeah, now this is beyond my capacity, I'm getting reactive, my whole stress response system is beginning to override my ability to stay in a place of my choosing, it's time to disengage. So thank you very much for naming that. The internal resourcing it begins with your ability to work with yourself and honoring what's happening inside of you and using it as your guide in terms of where your limits and your capacity is. And you always practice in the range of uncomfortable stretching and not beyond. And so many of us put some demand on ourselves that we should somehow be able to lift heavier weights than we're ready for. So I'm glad you brought that up. Thank you. Okay, so